Welcome to 561 Music. My name's Ben.
And I'm Hector.
How's it going, Hector?
It's going fantastic. How are you?
Yeah, I'm chill, man. Got any interesting facts for us today?
Yeah, a couple things. I just got back from Minnesota. Did a Ghostbusters street painting there. It was pretty
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, I saw it, man. It looked amazing.
Was about, I think it was about 15 feet wide and 25 feet tall, and it was a collaboration with my friend Tanya, and yeah, it was good times, man.
It was really awesome. Like, when you do those kind of festivals, is it organized by the city?
Depends on the festival.
Right.
This particular one is organized by a fellow artist. He's on their board and stuff, and helps put it together, and then they bring everybody in. It's in Minnesota, but it's like a little suburb. It's not really Minneapolis. It's Arbor Lakes is the area. So this is held at the Shops of Arbor Lakes. So, of course, the shops at Arbor Lakes have a big hand in it, and then they get a bunch of sponsors and things like that. So, yeah.
Quite a nice way to see the place. You know, when you're a musician, you just see the van, the club, and a takeaway place.
Yeah.
That's it. And, like, gas stations.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So, you know, it's like you get out in the days and kind of, speak to people and stuff.
Yeah, no,
it's cool.
real fun, man. I mean, you get out, you do the artwork, you're talking to a lot of people, you're taking breaks and checking stuff out, in the immediate area, and you have plenty of time in the afternoon, evenings, or whatever to walk around and take in some of the sights and stuff. So yeah. This time I didn't get out too far. I didn't venture too far out from the area, the hotel and everything. But I mean, I've been there before for this festival, and I've flown in like a day early or stayed a day late and went and did like Paisley Palace and did a tour there.
Right,
did stuff like that. Yeah. So just kind of taking the sights. But yeah, it's always fun, man.
So is it the same one as that you've done before? This one?
Same I've done this festival before. Yeah.
Yeah, gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I was watching your progress online. It looks amazing.
Thank you, man.
I love that you can do that. It's very impressive. Anyway, we have Dominic Delaney on the show today. How's it going, man?
It's going very well right now.
Cool.
How are you guys?
Yeah, we're all right. I guess we're fine.
Doing all right, man.
Hanging in there?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
So, we know each other mainly just from being musicians, knowing a lot of the same people, and speaking to each other actually quite a lot online.
Yeah, definitely.
And we just met
and that's
3.5 minutes ago.
That's where like the past year has been pretty weird for everybody. Like, where for instance, I think we did meet prior to COVID. I think at a few brew house shows.
Yep.
Stuff. I've definitely seen the Killbillies live multiple times.
Right.
But it's always crazy in bars and stuff.
Yeah. Sure.
But yeah, like the past year, I've met a lot of people that, like where you started to have these relationships that were just online because everybody was pretty much told to stay at home, and so that was weird. Now I'm running into people that are like, "Hey, you're that guy, and you don't look like your profile picture." It's like, well, you don't look like yours. It's a weird time we're in.
I had sort of almost, apart from promoting the band, I'd almost put like Facebook to bed, but then pandemic came and it's just got its claws in me like crazy again.
Yeah.
On social media, it's too much.
Well, and that definitely, like, I've gotten to the point where I've noticed, like, have you ever closed an app and then gone to open another one and it's the same one? I do that. I do that daily. I'll close Facebook and go to do something and I'll open Facebook.
I do that as well.
Like, that's not good. Like, that's a red flag.
Muscle memory for Facebook.
Yeah. So that's something I've been trying to cut back on, like my profile. Like a lot of people are into like talking about politics or stuff like that, and I have political views that don't agree with other people's and stuff. I don't need to put them on Facebook.
Sure.
If you go to my profile, you're gonna find great cat videos and only quality memes. I don't share anything that's half-assed.
I reckon about once a month I'll say something controversial and either regret it because I get into the most pointless arguments, or immediately take it down.
Yeah.
I don't do it that often.
And that's where it's
anymore.
like I have friends on like both sides of it. Friends who like shy away from confrontation about their moral beliefs, and then I have friends who like just kind of like to stir the pot.
Yeah.
And like they'll just throw out something knowing that people are going to to go off on.
Oh,
it,
absolutely, yeah.
And
totally.
I'll sit there and I'll read it.
People just poke the bear.
Yeah, for sure. And that's where like I've pretty much become comfortable with my moral beliefs, and that extends out to, I guess, musical beliefs and then lifestyle beliefs. And apart from that, like I think just the main rule everybody should have is just don't be a dick. Like,
Oh, yeah.
just be cool to other people, and then everything should be fine.
Yeah.
Dominic Delaney's life rules.
Yeah,
Don't
exactly.
be a dick.
Exactly. It's number one.
Just don't be a dick.
Yeah, goes a long way. It goes a long way not being a dick. Unfortunately, there's a lot of dicks. I'm probably included in those dicks. So it is what it is.
There are a lot of dicks. Nobody at this table, but there are a lot of dicks.
I know. I did. Yeah, I said it, and then I felt bad, and I felt like I had to qualify it. But I'm a dick too. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's get back to the music here. So, we like to ask people where their kind of musical origins kind of come from and stuff like that. And so, my first kind of couple of questions, I tend to blend them together, is why did you start? And what were your earliest musical influences? Like, what were your parents playing to you and stuff like that?
I think I have probably hands down the best first concert story that anybody's ever heard. Like, my mom was, at the time, like, I was a little kid. I was probably like 8 or 9. And I thought that she was like a reporter for the Sun Sentinel. It turns out she just sold like advertisements in the Sun Sentinel, which is a newspaper here. And somehow my dad had got tickets to Jeff Beck and B.B. King down at Meisner in Boca. And my mom threw like some Sun Sentinel card or something and got us backstage.
That's amazing.
And so we met Jeff Beck, who was like my dad's guitar hero.
Yeah. Everybody's guitar. Right?
Yeah, and
Amazing.
then B.B. King, I got to sit on his bus at 10 years old. I thought I was hot shit. I had like this like bandana from like a Halloween costume, like a pirate costume. I thought it was hot shit.
Yeah.
He let me sit on his bus, and
that's super cool.
I remember I was bummed out, like I didn't get a pick that he had thrown out, and he was like, "Leroy, come here, man, grab my boy a pick."
Oh,
He gave me
yeah.
a pick. I still have it. Like,
You still have it?
yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, we had the same birthday too, September 16th. Me and B.B. King.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that was really cool. My dad was kind of a heavy metal head.
That's really cool.
It is, and like, there's times where, like, with any musician's parents, where they kind of look at you like, "What are you doing? Like, you're trying to do music?" And I always kind of say to him, like, "Dad, you took me to see AC/DC 3 times and Iron Maiden twice before I was 15. This is kind of on you."
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, it was a lot of, like, definitely, like, metal, 80s metal, and then I worked my way kind of through the decades and, like, found 90s grunge and was like, "Oh, I like this." And then 90s, it was like, well, now I got to jump back to the 70s punk and see, that and everything. So it kind of just created a cycle of playing it, and I'm kind of participatory by nature. So it's kind of like, well, I see that, I want to do that, you know.
Yeah, I can completely relate to that. I don't think I'd ever knew what the word is, but it's that, isn't it? It's participatory.
Yeah, it's kind of just like I say, I'm like, yep, that looks fun. I want to try that.
Yeah,
you know?
totally.
And it was like, I was like that with a lot of weird shit too. Like, there's a movie that came out in America called Seabiscuit.
Yeah.
About the horse.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to be a fucking jockey. That looks awesome. You know? And then I saw a whole bunch of guitar players and was like, oh no, that's what I really want to do.
Yeah, man.
When did you start playing guitar?
Probably consistently around 10.
Okay.
I had one from like 6, like it was like that first act, like you
Yeah.
bought it at a Target or a
Can
Walmart.
never tune it correctly.
Right, yeah, it was just awful. And
The
like,
intonation is terrible.
I think I played like that opening riff from "Wish You Were Here" by Pink Floyd for like 4 years, and then finally was like, okay, I'll
still play
figure
that.
this out. That's where it's like my now wife, camera. My now wife has been playing my guitars just kind of for fun, and like that was my go-to when she was like, teach me how to play guitar. I was like, okay, well, just learn this and you'll learn a G chord, and then you'll learn an A minor chord and a C chord and all this shit. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah. With those first 3 or 4 chords, I generally send people towards knocking on heaven's door. That's where I start. Even if they need to do the G with the one finger on the E string.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
that gets them going. Yeah, you can do a lot with G, C, and D. And, you know, talking of kind of punk chord progressions like that, we share a sort of common sort of passion for the music of Frank Turner, do we not?
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I know. You
I have
some
him
tattoos.
inked by hand of the beautiful Lucy _tattoos on Instagram. Yeah, I love Frank. Frank's cool. I think not only do I like Frank's writing, but I kind of like Frank's ethos.
Sure.
Of do it yourself, like, and there was like a little documentary on him. They did a full documentary, but there's a small one on YouTube where he kind of said, like, if you want a tour, go book one. And like when I heard that, I was just like, oh my God, he's right. Like I can just do this. I'll just email a billion people, and I'll probably get a billion no's, but might get 5 or 6 yeses.
That lesson, inherit the earth, because no one else is taking it.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where it was just like, it's out there. Just go do it. No, and I have I think all musicians have friends who are those guys who are waiting for somebody to like come knock on their door like, hey, you got it made now. And that's just not how it happens.
No.
You got to go sleep on some people's floors and travel to cities where you don't know anyone.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt. I have one of my kids, she's notorious for like, if I don't know, whatever, if I'm talking about something in particular and I'm like, oh man, it could be something dumb, like, oh, my back hurts, she's like, well, just don't. And I'm like, well, I can't just stop it. She's like, but you can. And so it's kind of the same mentality, like, but it's the opposite, but it's the same mentality of, if you want it to happen, just do it.
Right. Totally. Yeah. And that's something that like with Frank, he's got this thing where he makes himself so open that there have been times where I've sent him probably not necessary email of just a simple question, and he does have the decency to email me back and say,
that's amazing.
It'll sometimes it'll be a 1-sentence thing, like, this is an easy answer to a dumb question, But that goes a long way. And for him, I've heard him say where it's something that he picked up from Henry Rollins, I think, where he wrote Henry Rollins growing up and Henry Rollins wrote back.
Yeah.
And how much that meant to him. So it's something that I kind of like, it seems like I don't want to say like a torch passing thing, but I think like it's something that it's like paying it forward where it just kind of spreads.
Well, I think that's what real do that. Like kind of punk is about, It's like do it yourself, grassroots, like we're all sort of equals, you know?
Absolutely.
And like if you and there's no, the concept of rock stardom, is ridiculous, and
definitely,
and the whole thing of I love the way with his lyrics that he they're so inclusive, and even if he's talking about his friends, it feels like he's talking about you and your friends,
Yeah,
there's something so kind of evocative about it, and like date and sort of the majesty and the glory of just like everyday life.
Yeah. I think like I was actually talking about this on the way here, where he has a song "Long Live the Queen," and when people sing along to that, like it's a very clear indication of what they're feeling. They're relating to someone they know who they might have lost and stuff like that. There is like the weird part of it where there's some songs where it's like you're singing along with the "I'm an asshole" material, and stuff like that. It's like, well, are you celebrating me being a jerk? Or are you just relating to me being like, what are you doing? Yeah. So that's a weird thing, but everything is relatable.
Yeah.
And that's something that I try and do in my writing, but I don't think I've hit the nail on the head on it yet.
I know. I love that song. I knew Proof Rock before it was famous.
Yeah, names off all his friends.
Yeah, and there's something, like I'm pretty sure that English Boys with Banjos line,
Mumford.
Well, that it just really like
talking about you, Ben.
It really made me be like, I want to be an English boy with banjo as well.
Right.
Like there was something that really kind of struck a chord with me about his music. Yeah, I don't know what it is. It defined an aesthetic that I could kind of fit into, like, English, but kind of into country and into bluegrass. And for a while, that was a thing that was happening. And it kind of died away. But I feel like it, not completely. It just turned into something else.
Yeah.
But it's that aesthetic for me is, it's after leaving Sonic Boom 6 is like it was like that's what I sort of was, aiming at, really.
Right. Like, yeah, and that's like for me, like when it comes to Proof Rock, like there's he has the festival named after the line, but like life is about love, lost minutes and lost evenings.
Yeah.
Last minutes and lost evenings.
Yeah.
Like that's there's a lot of songs that kind of, I don't know, like they're very perspective forcing. Like he'll have a line and it forces you to put things into perspective. Like, and that's something where he's got that new band that I think he mastered their EP Pet Needs from the UK, and the singer Johnny from Pet Needs is really good with those little one-liners that just make, like, he had one that it was I don't want to die, but it'd be great for business. Yeah. And I was just like, oh wow, like, okay, I'm into this song, you know. Yeah. But that's something that I've liked to try and find, and like I have like. One of the lines I'm proud of, which is kind of still a silly line, is my song Chubby, where it's I barely eat, but I'm still chubby.
Right, you know? Yeah.
And the song is completely referencing how maybe I'm spending too much time at bars in this period of my life, you know. I barely eat, but I'm still chubby.
Yeah.
You know, little things like that.
Yeah, the kind of simple chords, but I think Miles Davis always used to say that it's not like the song, it's not what you play, it's who's playing it and how you play it.
Definitely.
You know? And I think that the attitude, the whole ethos and kind of like and philosophy behind what he brings to the table is like what's awesome about him. You know what I mean? Right. It's not like, oh, that was a sick solo. Even though the music does sound really good, it's more of a heady concept than that. Being into him is just being into the person he is, really. You know?
Right. Well, and I think like the biggest draw in for him, and something that I think all musicians should strive for, is that the music feels communal. Yeah. Like it feels that, like when you go to a Frank Turner show, and I hope that one day my shows feel like this, where when you go to that show, you are just amongst friends. You might not know their names or even where they're from, but you're amongst friends and everything's cool. Don't be a dick. Yeah. And, you know, just everybody have fun. Everybody look out for each other and make, like, I remember I went to a Frank show in Orlando at the House of Blues, and I went to go jump up for a song, and I knocked this lady's drink out of her hand. And, like, I felt so bad, and so I turned around, I apologized, I went and bought her another drink. Yeah. Like, just don't be a dick. Yeah. You know, and everything was fine, so...
Oh, man, I have a funny story about that. Years ago, right, we were supporting this band called King Prawn. Big up King Prawn, if any of you guys happen to be listening to this. But they're this really awesome ska punk band in England. Anyway, it was kind of early on when in Sonic Boom 6, first couple of years, we were supporting them. And I was sick. I downed a pint and was immediately sick down the back of my manager's girlfriend. And he'd only been dating her for like a couple of weeks. And I was like sick. It was the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever done. And I was like trying to clean it off with a tissue. And she was just like, just get off me. It was so embarrassing. And then like, I was like, oh, what can I do? What can I do? And she's like, just buy me a drink. And so I don't know. That was, I've done many. That's where, you know,
there's
like
there's times in your life where sometimes you just got to put your hand up and be like, my bad. Like that one's on me. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. That's funny. So do you have a writing process when you come to write your songs? I think your songs are really good and very catchy and hooky, and I wondered if you have a process.
I think it's kind of like it's almost like an unstudied science. I think everybody who writes songs sometimes has those moments where one song will come at a moment, and it'll all just kind of flow and work out. But those moments seem to me to be far and few in between. Right. So
it's like you have to put the kind of groundwork in between the gaps.
Yeah, I think my biggest thing is like you can't be scared to write bad songs.
Yeah, word.
And so that's kind of my process. Is like I have notebooks of songs that nobody will ever hear.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that I think it's like a muscle. It's like any sort of muscle. If you work out that muscle, you're gonna get better at it. So
my university composition teacher said to me, just write something every day. Doesn't matter what it is, just do it.
Yeah,
you know?
Definitely. And that's where it's like I come from. My dad and my stepmother are both English teachers too.
Right.
And like I remember very early on, my dad was kind of strict about like I had to have like proper handwriting and I had to write in cursive and all that nonsense that nobody uses anymore.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to write in cursive though. It's pretty.
Yeah. even my signature is not in cursive. It's just scriggly lines. But you know, so I do like reading and stuff, and so I try to take. You know, when I read a book, like I'll read it for the context of the book, but I'm like, oh shit, what's that word?
Yeah.
You know,
I have noticed that you're fairly erudite. You got a good vocab.
Big word, Ben.
Yeah, that was a good one. That was a good one. Yeah, you know, and that's where I kind of like to play with synonyms, like to, I don't know, There's one song I'm working on right now, and I'm not going to give too much away about it, but one of the things I get at is that, like, this, I guess I'll say a little bit about it. It's called, one of the main words is floating, and there's two different definitions of floating. And I like to kind of play with words that way, where somebody can interpret one song completely differently than another person.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Floating in terms of bobbing on water and floating in terms of like
a mental state
away with the fairies. Yeah, we wrote a song called "Floating Away," which is about drug addiction.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and so that's where different people can pull from that, and that's where it almost comes back to making a song very relative. Yeah. Where people can put their own livelihood into it.
Yeah, totally, man.
Well, I imagine that being into the vocabulary and the synonyms and things like that just makes the writing process that much more interesting. You know, you have more ways of saying things. You know.
Yeah, it's kind of like a ebb and flow thing with it, because sometimes it makes it a little easier, and sometimes it's like, oh, I mean to say this, but the synonym I want to use doesn't rhyme, or whatever that might be. And then like you think about like if you look back like Eminem. That everybody, at least in my generation, grew up hearing about, how he used to study the dictionary and stuff. Yeah. Like, that's where it was like, and I still look at that as like, oh, he put in more work than anybody else.
Have you ever written any rap?
I did. It's awful. No one will ever hear it. Right. Yeah. A few of my closest friends are actually upcoming rappers, or aspiring rappers, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
My thing with the rap scene that I don't necessarily understand is I don't want to pay to go to a show to see you lip sync to your track.
Right, yeah.
I want to hear your vocals. Even if you have an effect on them, like, I still want to see you do it. Yeah. Like, I don't want to just... If I wanted to hear the album, I'd sit at home and put it on, Yeah. That's my only, I guess, gripe with hip-hop, because I think that there are great young hip-hop artists coming out that are, like, clever. Sure. But they kind of get, I don't know, maybe I just missed the point of like a rap performance. It's different than, I guess, a rock show.
But are they lip syncing when they're doing rap a lot?
I see it a lot, where they
have quite a lot of the time they sing along
track
with just the song.
Gotcha.
So like there's a plugged in mic, but they just kind of
play the
they're
song.
Almost and they're almost kind of being their own hype man. They'll
do that's a good way of saying it. It's like they're their own MC pretty much.
Yeah.
You find that when you're doing your writing, do you find that you're doing your lyrics first or your music first, or is it a combination of?
Yeah, it's kind of. Sometimes I'll find a chord progression and then it starts the just like mumbling along to it, or making sounds like odd noises. If I have the house to myself, I'll just yell in different keys and try and figure it out and stuff. But I think what's worked for me lately is I used to be the type of person, I didn't have a cell phone probably until like 3 years ago. I finally got a cell phone.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't need it, and like the people who needed to get in touch with me could.
Yeah.
But then I started playing shows again, and it was like, well, now I need to talk to people a lot.
Yeah.
And then I finally got an iPhone. It's still the oldest one I think that you could get that still works, but it has GarageBand on it. And so like from there I was able to just stick a metronome on and record, what I figured would be a song, and then go from there and write along to it. And then I could be, sitting at work or sitting somewhere else just with headphones and writing along to it.
Yeah.
That was like a whole new world. So it's a little bit of both right now. And I kind of try not to analyze like how I actually like write the lyrics too much, like almost for fear of like breaking the machine.
Sure.
You know? Because like you do have those spur of the moment songs that just like Chubby kind of came together in one take or one sit down session of writing, where others, you know, you go back to and amend.
Well,
and
that
stuff
Broken
like that.
Finger song I love because it's a snapshot of what you were thinking at a moment.
Yeah.
It's almost like
definitely.
it's almost like that automatic writing thing. It's just like this is what was happening in your brain right then.
Yeah.
You know, like, which is pretty cool.
Definitely. I used to, I would always tell the story about that when I would play it. So what happened was I worked at an ice rink for quite a long time, about 4 or 5 years, and I'd grown up playing ice hockey, and I was coaching hockey and like driving the Zamboni, which, you know, cuts the ice and cleans it and stuff.
Right.
And just, I realized like part of it was the management of that place, but I realized like, damn, this place took something I loved and made me hate it. Like, I can't let that happen again.
Right.
And that's when I left. I went to just play shows and was like, oh shit, I have no money.
Yeah.
And so I started working at this metal shop, and it turns out I don't know anything about power tools or how to work with my hands for that matter. And like,
Or work.
yeah, pretty much. Like within 3 days, I pretty much had crushed my finger in a machine that punches holes through steel.
Wow.
Yeah, like it did. Like
Nah.
I'm not exaggerating. I pulled my finger. Like what happened was like the thing clamped on my finger. I panicked. I hit the emergency button. It lifted, and I'm not exaggerating when I tell you that my finger was like paper thin. Like I thought there was no possible. Like I was convinced I was losing the finger.
Oh my god.
And I kind of just like looked at my buddy. I was like, "Hey, I think I broke my finger," and he was like, "Oh shit, let's go." And somehow they like I went to the hospital, and they were just like, "Yeah, your bones will heal and grow back." And I couldn't believe it. I didn't need surgery or anything, but
Oh, wow.
but yeah, I was.
You just like squished the bone even.
Yeah,
Like,
pretty
did
much.
it-
Like it was my middle finger, second knuckle up. All this was flat, and then
Wow.
like it's still fatter than the other one.
At least it's
You know.
at least it's like your strumming hand, right?
Yeah. So that was the thing. I was counting. I still count all of my shows, and at that point, I think I was around like 90 or 91.
Yeah.
And I had the other 9 already lined up in a big party for the 100th show.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of just like, well, they have to happen.
Yeah.
And then it became, well, they have to happen, and now there's a song about it. You know?
Do you do the kind of how much do you do the kind of 3-hour, 4-hour type stuff?
I've just recently got into playing some of them, mainly, you know, for financial purposes.
Sure, that's
you
why
know.
everyone does it.
Yeah, you know, like I still kind of, part of me, I have like a pretty strict moral compass on, I will not play Brown Eyed Girl.
I don't play.
Like, I
we
won't-
we don't do that one either.
Freebird.
I won't play Sweet Caroline.
Yeah.
You know, I just can't do it. I can't bring myself to do it. And,
We've finally
and that's
weaned
lost me
ourselves
goals.
off. We've weaned ourselves off Wagon Wheel.
Yeah.
That was one that was just not. It's like people kept asking for it, and we kept being like, okay, but
Yeah.
we're like, nope, no longer. Sorry,
Yeah.
we've
Became-
wheeled our last wagon.
It became the drunk girl anthem.
Right. Well, have you seen? There's that meme where it's like a band had a like a sheet where it was like $100 for Freebird, $150 for Sweet Caroline. You know.
Yeah, I feel like we should have that. Actually, that would be.
Yeah,
That's
that,
actually-
see
that's
now at that
smart.
point, yeah, I'll play it. You
Yeah.
know, because that's where it's like I could sit here all day and talk about I'm never gonna play Sweet Caroline. I'm never gonna play Sweet Caroline.
But for $100, you'll play Sweet Caroline.
Yeah, when I'm sitting at a gig or looking at an empty tip jar and one person comes up and is like, "Hey, you want to play Sweet Caroline?
Yeah.
$100, sure, whatever you want."
I upset
sing it
someone
backwards.
recently because they put money in our tip jar, then asked us to play these 2 songs that we didn't know. I said, we don't know them. I didn't say it that loud because I was kind of in between lines. I was
Right.
like, we don't know them. And then just jumped back to the mic.
Right.
But I wasn't trying to hide it or anything. And then we were packing up and leaving. And at the end, he wanted to he was like trying to fight me.
Jesus.
He was like, you didn't play the songs. I gave you this money. I was like, firstly, I didn't ask you to give me the money.
Right.
You just put money
That's not how it works,
at
bud.
me. Secondly, I'm sorry, I just didn't know them. And I said, oh, you can have your money back if you want. But the bouncers didn't understand that he'd given me any money. And because it was one of these gigs where you don't have to pay to get in, they thought I'd made this amazing joke. Like, oh, you can have your money back if you want, as in it didn't cost him anything to come and watch us play. And I wish that had been the joke, and that I was that clever, but I wasn't. Would have been awesome. I was thinking about that on the way home. I was like, oh,
Is that this
if only that was the real thing.
this past weekend or?
No, it was about 2 months ago.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if he really would have gone, but he was mad, you know. Like he was definitely like trying to make me feel bad
It
about it.
happens all the time though. People throw money in first and then ask, and I do feel bad when we don't know the song.
Yeah, me too.
I had somebody put a 20 into my tip jar and ask for change. That was interesting.
Yeah,
I was kind of like, I'm a little busy.
I know. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's happened to me too.
I kind of just politely said, like, just take it back. I appreciate it. Appreciate the thought.
Yeah,
Continue on with your night.
literally every kind of stupid thing like that has happened to me at this point of years of doing these 3-4 hour gigs. It's just, like we were talking about earlier, an iguana pooped on my head. It's like
A
everything.
pigeon landed on your head.
I know.
And
Anything
your
you could think of.
saxophone.
I've eaten so many flies while I'm playing. So many weird things have happened.
Yeah,
Protein,
definitely
man. It's good
swallowed
for you.
lots of bugs.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So when you're at home, do you practice?
Yes, I do practice, and I've realized the past few months, like, it took me probably like half of the first quarantine to realize that I'm the type of person who is very well beneficiary from structure. Like,
Right.
I need a routine. And so, like, I wake up, I go for a run, I eat, and then, like, I have, like, 2 hours in the morning that I designate to practicing, and then I have an hour for, like, what I call fucking around, where it's just kind of trying to write, but, like, I don't like to call it a writing session, because I think
Put
if
too
you
much
go,
pressure on it.
yeah, if you go into anything thinking, like, I need to write in this 1 hour, you're not going to do it.
Yeah,
So
totally.
but yeah, like definitely at least 3 hours a day playing around. And that's where it's like, I still don't think, like, everybody in my band I consider to be a better musician than me. Like they
Who's
know
in it? Let's give him some
I got
some love on here.
Ricky Bobby, who is
Big
also lead singer of The Shake.
Yeah.
Which they will be here soon.
Yeah. Well, aren't they coming on? They're coming this Sunday.
This Sunday.
Yeah, this Sunday.
This Sunday, the Shake will
they'll
be here
be
at
here.
Live Music Community doing their live stream.
It's the 12th, right?
I believe so.
What's the
Friday's
day?
the 10th.
9th, 10th? Yes, Friday is the 10th because I have a show.
Yeah, I'm getting a tattoo on Friday. That's why I know
There
that.
you go. Nice. Nice. But yeah, so we got Ricky Bobby on the drums, and then I got the Brothers Moonmen. Devin and Galen
The Brothers
Holden
Moon.
on the string. Yeah, the Brothers Moon on the strings. So Devin's playing guitar and Galen's playing bass.
Yeah, big up, guys.
Yeah, I'm excited. We got the live shows coming and everything. But I think they're all better musicians than me because, like, I'm able to string together different chords into a song, and then I'll get to practice, and they'll be like, "Oh, this is in the key of G," and I'll be like, "Great."
Yeah.
If you say so.
Yeah, sounds good to me, guys. Like, oh, I think this will be better at 165 instead of 160. Okay,
Yeah.
And that's where it's cool to be like part of a group where, like, it is Dominic Delaney and, like, the band name is The Dead Language, so it's Dominic Delaney and The Dead Language.
That's a cool name.
Thank you. But, like, it is still, we're pretty much, like, the most democratic solo act, I guess, solo full band act.
Yeah.
And the act,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I did an and the for a bit. And in the reforming of Killbillies, for a while it was Ben Child's Killbillies because there was like a cast change. I wasn't doing it with Micah Scott anymore and kind of wanted to make sure that was understood. But then the Ben Childs and the just dissolved as well.
Yeah.
It's like I never feel that comfortable with that anyway. I don't know why, but I think it's okay. I'm not saying anyone shouldn't do that, but I don't know. I maybe I like the security of being in a group.
Yeah, I can see that. Well, and that's where it is a little weird sometimes because, like, to me, like I was saying, they're the better musicians,
Right.
Like, I wouldn't be Dick without them.
Yeah, but I mean, don't do yourself down. You've got a great voice and you play guitar just fine.
Thank
Yeah, amazing writing. too.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. I
Yeah.
appreciate that.
No, it's solid, man. So, have you got any right now? Is there anything bubbling in the works in terms of like future plans?
Yeah, definitely. Touring is number one
Yeah.
right now. That's tough. We're still in the woods a little bit as far as COVID.
Sure.
We had some cool venues lined up that just can't do it right now, whether it be financially or their own personal reasons for COVID protection and stuff. So that sucks. But we got a couple new songs already in the pipeline. We've got about like 4 or 5 already, even though this album's just about to come out. We've got about half of an album done.
Cool.
For the next one, and pretty much we just want to play shows and be on the road again and kind of get that, I feel like with the whole pandemic and everything that I don't ever want to half-ass anything again. Like I've done some some little tours. Like I toured with Sarah Scully, which was a lot of fun. I did a tour up to Chicago and back, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah, cool.
But now it's kind of like, well, I'm not taking anything for granted anymore.
How old are you?
I'll be 27 on the 16th.
Yeah,
of September.
Babe.
Yeah,
that's great. This is the time to do it too, because as you get older, it gets harder and harder and harder and harder.
Absolutely.
To the point where, well, firstly, just physically, it gets more demanding as you get older. Just lying on it. When I was 27, I could fall asleep on someone's floor, get up in the morning and be like, right, what's for breakfast? If I slept on someone's floor, I would wake up sick. Now, you know what I mean? I'd have like a cough and a cold and my back would hurt.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Because you're old, Ben.
Yeah, no, it happens, man. It happens to the best of us.
What scares the shit out of me is that like how everybody was talking about like when I turned 25, they were like, oh man, after 25, you feel it. And I was like, yeah, whatever, guys.
Nah, you're good for a while.
And I was like, and now I hear my friends.
I start feeling it.
See, well, that's where it's like now I hear that and I'm like, shit, well, they were right about 25. Like, they're going to be right about 35 too.
Yeah, I don't think I even really contemplated mortality till I was about 35. I was just sort of doing my thing.
Right.
Felt fine most of the time, And the 35 came around and I was like, oh man, I have to start taking care of myself.
Yeah. That's where, luckily, my wife is pretty, I guess you say, active. She likes to do yoga and exercise. I tried doing yoga. I understand how good it is for you. I can't get into it yet, though. Running's been my thing lately.
Nice.
But even that.
That's cool, man. Running, and I like the idea of getting up and immediately going for a run because you're still kind of in that like I've just woken up thing. So you can't overthink it. You just kind of like do it.
My thinking is if you start the day with a run, your day can only get better after the run. Like,
yeah, man.
You can only go up from there.
I'm gonna try that, man. I need more exercise. That's not a bad plan. First thing, run.
Yeah, definitely. Or even like sometimes I'll substitute the run with even if there's no waves, I'll paddle out on my surfboard all the way down to the end of the pier and back. I think it's probably got to be like 200 yards maybe.
Yeah.
So it's a good little.
Which pier?
Lake Worth Beach. Yeah.
Cool.
That's where I like to go surf. There's waves break good there.
Rad, man. Good stuff. All right, why don't we have you play a couple of songs for us, dude?
Yes, I would love to.
All right, cool.
Will you miss me when I'm gone? Different cities playing the same songs. 'Cause I'll miss you singing along. Spend my nights thinking where I went wrong. And then I'll find my way back home. I'll find my way back home. And when I'm feeling down and out and I feel so alone, I'll find my way back home. There'll be long nights bitter ends, and sometimes we'll need to lean on our friends. But there's postcards and love sent. We'll wonder where all of our time went. And then I'll find my way back home. I'll find my way so alone. Find my way back home. And I hope you pick up the phone. And I hope you pick up the phone. Well, I know it's late, I don't get time zones, but I hope you pick up the phone. I'll find my way back home. I'll find my way back home. And after a sick night here at Live Music Community, I'll find my way back home. I'll find my way back home. When I'm feeling down and out and I feel so alone, I'll find my way back home. Younger days were better, times didn't need an excuse to be alive. I'd get in trouble at the record store to spend the night on your bedroom floor, playing song after song, my favorite parts when you'd sing along. And those are great songs that I had, those were a special kind of sad. And on the day that Hodgman died, I learned what it means to be alive. And Carly's so strung out, it seems we don't know what life means. And I've been trying hard, and I swear to my friends that I'll always be there. Probably cried more than I should, but sad songs make me feel good. I guess I hide now in the road, bury myself in numbered shows. Like a totem pole I climb, that's just the way that I'm designed. And every night I spend with friends is why I crave the weekends. We'll run around, they think we're mad. Those were the best times that I've had. On the day that Hodgman died, I learned what it means to be alive. Carly's so strung out, it seems we don't know what life means. I've been trying hard, and I swear to my friends that I'll always be there. And I probably cried more than I should. Sad songs make me feel good. Na 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 na. Na 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 na. On the day that Hodgman died, I learned what it means to be alive. Carly's so strung out, it seems we don't know what life means. I've been trying hard, and I swear to my friends that I'll always be there. And I probably cried more than I should, but sad songs make me feel good.
So this episode is sponsored by Handlebars Bar and Grill. It is a biker bar in Tequesta, and it has fantastic food and fantastic beer and a really cool vibe. And Jamie, who works behind the bar, is just a great laugh. And Burnsy, who makes the food, is just perfect for the place. A real character, and his food's delicious. And we have music twice a week, but then we also have a bike night. So we have Saturdays from 6 to 9, Sundays from 4 to 7, live music, and then we also every second Thursday from 6 to 9 we have a bike night, and the bike night is just great fun. It's actually this week, and it should be a blast. So if you can ever make it out to Handlebars, you should definitely come and check it out. It's just one of those places, been there for a really long time, has a real sort of eclectic, interesting crowd of people, of regulars. And, if you're new to the area and you want a taste of kind of, behind the scenes Jupiter Tequesta, it's definitely somewhere to come and check out. And, I hope to see you there. My father-in-law, Peter Pinello, reopened the place, and I've been helping him out, and I booked the bands there, and, it's kind of a family effort, and yeah, come and support us and check the place out. So, awesome. Dominic, thanks so much for playing us those songs. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Absolutely. So that first song I played is a song called "My Way Home,"
right?
Which it's pretty much I had written that the first song the first time I had gone on tour, leaving my now wife. Kind of, there's something about. And I assume this is probably in all relationships, especially long-term relationships, where, when you leave, it's kind of, there's a piece of you missing still. And, like, nowadays, we have FaceTime and we have Skype and we have ways of communicating. So it's not,
rough, I hear you.
It's not as bad as it used to be, but there's definitely still, I'm used to falling asleep by this person every night. Sure. And now I'm sleeping in a 15-passenger van, type of stuff.
That really, honestly, for me, was the biggest reason, I think, why because I was on tour 300 days a year with Sonic Boom 6, and that was really the thing that eventually kind of meant that I didn't want to do it anymore. Yeah. And it's not like I don't want to tour, but with that kind of schedule, you can't be with someone. Yeah. I mean, it's cruel to them.
Yeah, you know it is. It's hard to kind of say, like, hey, wait here, I'll be back in X amount of months.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's where, I've only done a couple tours and I've spread them out, but the majority of the times, like for instance, this weekend we have Sing Out Loud Festival in St. Augustine, where me and my wife get to make a weekend of it.
That's great,
Yeah. And that's I feel like that's gonna be part of the near future for a lot of not only like smaller bands but even bigger bands, where it's kind of going to be one-off shows for a little bit, or even like Weekend Warrior type stuff, because that's where it's like where COVID has pretty much smashed everybody down to equal level. Like the big bands are having just as much as a hard time booking shows right now on tours.
Well, the irony is bands that are doing less well are able to book more gigs because the threat of loads of people together isn't there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
It's stupid, but it's true.
It really is.
It's an underlying blessing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but My Way Home, that song came about before that first tour, and thankfully she was still home when I got back, and it was also my first time actually crossing time zones, because I remember being in Chicago. And I meant to call her we were in Chicago on New Year's Eve, and I meant to call her at midnight. And I guess I still really don't know. I don't know if we were behind an hour or forward an hour, but we were off by 1. And that's where I was like, oh shit, I never had really gone this far from Florida. And like that was a bit of a realization and stuff. But luckily, like I got to play a show in Texas a couple months ago. And she got to come to that one too, which was the furthest west either of us had been. Yeah. So that was fun. But I think that song definitely touches on how, like, I think there's part of the reason, like, there's people who are fine being a musician and staying in their local town and running a local circuit, having residencies and making a comfortable living doing that. there's the other breed of musicians who are like musicians that are like bred with tourist as well. You know, there's so many things. I kind of like wake up in like a shiver in the morning of like, I've never seen the Grand Canyon. You know, that type of stuff. You know, and I really want to see
that wanderlust.
as much as I can.
Yeah.
You know, so
get out there, man.
Yeah, when it ties into, you know, when you get to be able to do it, even if it's just playing a show for the gas money to get to the next place, to me, it seems worth it.
Well, what I found in my years of touring that I liked the most was that you're going somewhere for a reason. So you're not like the same as if you go to a town and you're just there on vacation, because, you know, when you're just there on vacation, you're just 100% taken advantage of. You don't know where to go, and you're funneled towards these places, and your money just gets taken from you, basically. But if you're going there for a reason, you're with people who know the place. They take you to the right places. No one's trying to trick you out of your money, you know.
Right, and there's also the aspect of when you're on the road, like, for one thing, I think all musicians should know, if you're going to go into a state of playing shows all the time, sometimes you're going to play a bad show.
For sure.
And when you're on tour, it's almost like you're on a rolling pirate ship where if you mess up, like if you played a bad show last night, well, that's okay. You've got tomorrow night. You better make it up.
Yeah,
you
absolutely,
know?
yeah.
And that's where it becomes... that's where it's like a team thing, you know, because you're on with other artists and you could be like, oh man, you kind of fucked that one up last night, you know.
Yeah.
Step it up tonight, and then see them overcome that and put on a hell of a show. You know, those are rewarding moments for sure.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in you're only as good as your last gig, you know.
Right.
I love that saying. And you know, and it really kind of pushes, you know, if we play a bad one, at least we know that, you know, if we're playing the next day or the day after or something.
It helps for sure. And then there's also the, you know, I grew up playing ice hockey, and there's something about being part of like a team. Whereas, like, you know, you play for the logo on the front instead of the name on the back type of thing. And I guess that sounds a little weird coming from like a Dominic Delaney but like when you're on tour with, whether it be, you know, how me and Sarah Scully did a tour, or whether you're with a band, you know, you're a team, and everybody's got to do their job for it to all work and stuff.
Yeah. That's cool. So, did we get through both of them there in terms of...
No, second song. The second song I played is a song called Sad Songs.
Oh, that's right. That was a banger.
Yeah.
I love that song.
So that one was almost cut from the album by personal choice. It deals obviously with the death of one of my childhood friends,
that's what that is,
Hodgman. Who he was, you know, one of the best skateboarders down here, in my opinion, a kid that I looked up to, and he passed away very young. And it was kind of like the first death that kind of hit close to home for me. And it just kind of shook me a little bit and made me rethink where I was going. Like, was I doing what I cared about? Was I doing what made me actually happy? And at that time, I wasn't. I wasn't playing music. I wasn't really socializing with anybody. And so it kind of shocked me out of that. And then I had another childhood friend, Carly, who was dealing with her own problems with addiction. And at one point, you know, in the song, it references her in the present tense, but she actually just very recently passed from an overdose. So that's why the song was going to be taken off. And
I get it.
Just because I was like, you know what, I can't sing it every night. I can't play it every night. But her mom heard it and told me pretty much, how dare you decide to take that off? Like, it has to go on. And I was like, okay, like, yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So it stays on the album, and it'll be played every night.
It's a beautiful song.
It's definitely
it's an amazing song.
It's definitely something that I think about when I play it. I think about my friends, and I also think about how precious every single moment that we have is. Because like, even tonight, you know, you never know. There could be a car crash waiting to happen. There could be something. You never know. And I would much rather leave everything on the table.
It's not a dress rehearsal, you know?
Right, exactly. Yeah, for sure. And when her mom pretty much said, like, it has to be on the album, I that's when I knew. I was like, okay, like it's not only gonna be on the album, but it's gonna be played as much as possible. We'll have a video.
I imagine that made you feel better. Imagine that's kind of like waylaid your worries about singing it, you know?
Yeah, definitely. I think that
It's
like
still
for
going to be
instance,
rough to sing.
It's definitely still rough to sing. I think I think Carly's mom is coming out to the show on the 18th that we're having, and that night's definitely gonna be an emotional, because that'll be the first time I've seen her listen to it, and that'll be pretty tough. So, but I think that she understood the sentiment of the song, and the fact that she was moved by it means that, like, maybe, you know, I don't know if it's the perfect song in the world, but there's that little piece of like truth in it that she was able to see and be proud of.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's a you know, it's a great song. So if there was going to be a song out there that had a reference to a great friend who'd passed away, it's lucky it's a really good song.
Thank you. I appreciate that, brother.
All right, so you don't use pedals, so we decided to take a look at your guitar.
Yes.
Your beautiful, amazing white whale of a guitar. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yeah, I could tell you I had to wait a long time for it. I went to order this. It's a 2021 Epiphone Alpine White Studio Dove. I had to wait about 9 months for this guitar to be built.
Wow, 9 months?
Yeah, 9 months. They said they had
an hour a day for 9 months.
Yeah, they said they had one in stock when I ordered it, and I got a call from the Guitar Center in Las Vegas where they said they had it and they would send it to me, but it was their floor model and pretty much had holes in it. The pickups were hanging inside of it, and pretty much I didn't want it. So.
Sure.
This was pretty much right at the beginning or middle part of quarantine of 2020. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? I'm probably not going to have any shows for the rest of the year. I can wait. So I stuck with my order, had them send it to me. It has a spruce top with maple sides, a strong or hard maple neck.
Right.
And then inside for pickups, we have the Fishman Sonocore.
Right.
With, I believe it's the Sonotone preamp.
Right.
And yeah, I'm kind of used to playing my Hummingbird. This neck is a little deeper than the Hummingbird.
Yeah, I had a go on it. It does have quite a thick neck, but I didn't find it unpleasantly thick.
Yeah, no, it still fits pretty well inside your palm. I don't have the longest fingers, so it's been a little bit of stretching, but
Right.
It sounds great. I do think that the Fishman pickups are a giant step up from on the Hummingbird. I just have whatever the Epiphone pickups are, that where you have the control board on top of the side.
Yeah.
This is the first acoustic I've had that has the pickups controlled inside the sound hole.
It seems to be a thing now. Like, that's how my Breedlove is, and I just noticed recently that people seem to be going that route. I think it's partly to do with making the body of the guitar more resonant.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Sounds amazing, though. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just got so much body and everything to it.
Yeah, in a good way. Like, you know, that.
Yeah.
I think they took that big plastic thing off there so that it could actually resonate.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
It makes total sense. The you know, I stitched myself up because I attached that. So I have this box that controls my pedals that I because I use a snare with my foot, so I can't use my pedals. And it's so, you know, as a result, it means that the body of my guitar is less resonant. But actually, you know, playing out and it's kind of like a loud gig. More resonance equals more feedback anyway, so it's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
Yeah,
You know.
and that's where it comes down to picking the right guitar for the job. Like, for instance,
sure.
Ricky Bobby, lead singer of The Shake and drummer for my band, The Dead Language, when he does his solo looping stuff, he uses one of those 3/4 guitars.
Yeah.
You know, because it just kind of works for him in that looping or one-man band setting. You know?
Totally. Mine is essentially it's a parlor size. It's, you know, so one step away from being a 3/4. I love a little guitar. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's where it's like I'm the opposite. I'm a tiny guy, and I should probably be playing smaller guitars. But both of the Hummingbird and the Dove are both Dreadnought.
I don't know if you remember in
Beast.
the 90s, you would have been really young, but there was just this
baby.
thing where, like, it seemed like any indie band with a girl playing the guitar was playing like a massive Epiphone 335. They always say huge guitar.
Biggest guitar they could find.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just play that.
And I think it's cool. I think you went a good route. You know, like I think it looks good. It's a beautiful guitar.
I'm glad I waited for it. Because part of me, like, they had another Hummingbird that was in black, and it does look great, and it still might be my next guitar.
Right.
But what really sold me was the Fishman pickups. My next buy that I'm gonna have, or my birthday's coming up. If anybody wants to buy this for me,
Amazon wish list.
Yeah, the Fishman
561 Music wish list.
The Fishman Aura Spectrum DI. DI box. It's sick. Like, you can pretty much program in. They have like a setting pretty much made for a Hummingbird.
That's
and
cool.
so I would just select it to Hummingbird and plug in, and it's got a tuner, and it's a perfect DI box.
Yeah.
It runs about like $350.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a Fishman preamp. Really like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
awesome.
where I've pretty much been told, like, when it comes to using pickups or any sort of DI box or preamp, it's Fishman.
Yeah, if you there is the one that James uses and the one that I used to have, the LR bags. I think it's called Venue. Just check that thing out. That is as good, if not potentially better. It's called the LR Bags Venue, and that is a killer DI as well. So
Check that out for sure.
like, you know, don't kind of overlook that one when you're thinking about it, because if you're dropping $200-300 on it, you know, there's a few out there that are decent. So what gigs have you got coming up?
Right now, I can announce this weekend, which will be September 10th, so I guess Friday, will be in St. Augustine, opening up Sing Out Loud Festival, which is a month-long festival that they do in St. Augustine, where it's all these different venues. They've got a whole bunch of different artists. I think Mayday Parade is playing Saturday the 11th after us.
The guys from Against Me live in St. Augustine, don't they?
Against Me? I want to say yes.
Yeah.
I want to say yes. I know our show is going to be at a place called Dog Rose Brewing in St. Augustine. That'll be Friday the 10th. It'll be me, Danny Attack, and a band called Stillfire Bellows.
Cool.
And then the following weekend, on the 18th, we have the album release party at Grandview Public Market in West Palm Beach.
Yeah,
and we've got a lot of cool bands coming with that. We've got Andy Styron, the Moonmen, the Marauders, the Shake, and then we'll be playing as Dominic Delaney and the Dead Language.
Cool. That's a great spot. We've played there a few times, and I really like the vibe. It's very kind of cosmopolitan feeling, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, and so this time, too, they're renting a stage. I don't know if they rented it. Yeah, so it's going to be a stage in the parking lot.
Cool.
And, yeah, we're going to have a bunch of vendors. Salt Cured's going to come out.
Nice.
Yeah, it's going to be a really fun time.
Big up Salt Cured.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I noticed earlier you had your Salt Cured shirt on. So
yeah, I got this and a couple other ones in the mail, and
Neat.
They're my go-to like sunglasses too.
Yeah.
I have like 5 pairs of the white sunglasses they have.
Nice.
Oh, that's cool. I got to
nice.
check those out. I'm obsessed with sunglasses.
Yeah, I
they're
see her
great.
posting all the time that she's doing her shipments and stuff, and I'm like, man, she's doing all right.
Yeah, and
I'm
honestly,
happy for her, man. That's awesome.
I keep the bags too, because she's got awesome like shipping
they're
bags.
great.
It's got the
They're
logo
great.
on them
Yeah,
and
they're
everything.
great.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But yeah, so then after that, as far as events, I can't say too much about it, but I can definitely say that people should be on the lookout for a Shake Dominic Delaney December tour.
Right on.
Nice.
If we can wiggle on one of those dates with Killbillies, we'd absolutely
dude,
love to.
definitely.
We can talk about that in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm trying to manifest it.
Hey, you and me both, man. I would love to have you guys on.
Yeah, it's cool.
As we mentioned earlier, speaking of the Shake is doing the live stream this Sunday here at
they are.
Live Music Community. So make
Great
sure that
great band.
yeah, make sure you check it out. And then I believe you're doing a live stream here as well, right?
I am.
October 3rd, possibly.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah,
October something, I'll be
we'll
here.
confirm that and put it in the show notes.
Just
but,
come every day in October, just in case.
Yeah, I'll
Just
just
in
knock on
case.
the door in the morning and be like, it's today the day.
Listen, just do a live stream every day in October. It'll be fine. People aren't going to mind.
The live streams are really, really good. They're every Sunday evening, and they're a great laugh. Killbillies has done one. We did one way back in December of last year, and I'm going to do one on October 17th. And it's a really fun way to enjoy music. I think that if you've never checked out one of these live music community live streams, you definitely should, because I'm
going to do one. Justin just doesn't know it yet.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't know what I'm going to play.
Naked spoken word.
Oh, 100%.
Just get you a triangle.
Yeah.
There you go.
Or you could do like a beat thing.
Yeah.
You get some bongos on a beret.
Yeah. Do the beatnik thing with a looper. Now we're talking.
Absolutely.
And we got Killbilly shows coming up this weekend. We have Brick and Barrel on Friday, 9 p.m. to midnight.
That's right. The food there is really good. If you have never been to Brick and Barrel, come and eat. Also, they have really great cocktails.
Yeah,
they have some really interesting ones. It's not really my wheelhouse anymore, but I have heard that they have very nice cocktails.
That's over in Abacoa, and it is a cool spot. And then on Saturday, we are back at the Kilted Mermaid after a long hiatus.
We haven't played there in about 5 years. Yeah. It's really cool, though, if you've never been to...
That's in Vero, correct?
Yeah, it's up in Vero Beach, And it's a little-ish place. It's like the opposite of Walking Tree. Walking Tree Brewery, where we usually play in Vero, is enormous.
Right.
This place is really pretty small, but it's just packed with character.
Do they have air conditioning?
They have air conditioning,
because Walking Tree Brewery does not.
They have huge fans, though.
They do have huge fans.
I've never seen fans bigger
Our
than
biggest
that.
fans are at Walking Tree Brewery.
I was going to say, I heard you guys have huge fans.
Yeah, our biggest fans are at Walking Tree Brewery. So the Kilted Mermaid in Vero, 8 to 11 on Saturday. I'm excited for that one.
Yeah, the guy who, one of the co-owners, it's a husband and wife team who run that place. And the fella, he always wears a kilt, and he's DMs like the punk style,
That's awesome.
Yeah, he's kind of a badass. It's a lot of fun. They're both a real hoot, those two, and I'm pretty sure it's the same people who run it now, and it's a really good laugh. So if you're up in Vero and you want to check out something bohemian, a little bit different, come check out Kilted Mermaid.
Even if you're not in Vero, drive.
Yeah, exactly.
And Dominic, the actual album, you're doing your release party on the 18th, but the actual album drops the 17th, correct?
Yes.
All right.
Correct.
So for anybody that's listening,
what's it called? The album?
The Marrow in My Bones.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Well, we're gonna put all the links to your website and SoundCloud and the stuff that you have out there now. But we're gonna go ahead and put the pre-save link in the show notes. So anybody that wants to pre-save the album, go to 561 Music, listen to this podcast, this episode, and click the link, and hopefully they'll pre-save it.
Oh yeah, thanks guys. I appreciate
absolutely,
it.
man.
It's all good, man. It's so nice to have you on.
I appreciate you being on here.
Yeah, I've been admiring your music from afar for a little while, and it's just cool to actually hang out and talk to
Yeah, definitely. Now you can admire it from close.
Exactly. So if you haven't already, if you're listening to this and you haven't already, subscribe to our YouTube and like the video. It all helps, as I'm sure you know from every other single thing like this saying it all helps with the algorithm and getting us more noticed.
Yeah.
So
and if you listen to, if you don't watch the video, if you listen to the podcast on Apple Podcast or on Spotify or anything like that, or wherever you listen to your podcast, drop us a review. Make sure it's 5 stars. If it's not, don't drop us a review. But drop us a review.
If it's not 5 stars, just text it to us.
Right. Because all that stuff, as Ben mentioned, it all helps the algorithm. It helps bump us up a little bit. It helps get us out there a little bit more.
Do you guys do like buttons down here? If I stick my finger,
there
subscribe,
you go.
like and subscribe.
No, it's gonna be there. Like and subscribe. There you go. Actually,
we're gonna have to have them pinging up all over the thing now.
We'll just have one big one in the middle. Well, we appreciate you coming out.
Thank you guys
awesome
so much for having me, guys.
Nice.
Can't wait to be back with the full band and we'll
awesome.
rock this place.
Absolutely,
for sure, man. Awesome.
Cool. See ya.
Next time.